I love PlayStation games quite a bit, whether it is first-party stuff, third-party stuff, Final Fantasy VII Remake, or the latest stuff like Gran Turismo. I certainly love what Sony has been up to, but there is this interesting debate that honestly just keeps popping up, which I feel is very, very important, which is cost. Why is it that PlayStation games cost $70? There is no version of Game Pass yet. Like, even though there is the PlayStation Plus subscription service, it doesn't have new games. And what's really going on with this rumors of a PlayStation 5 price hike, possibly making the PS5 cost $600 or more in a couple years? Let's dig into all of this because something about this seems a little bit fishy. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a very good day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. So I want to begin with this tweet that's sort of been going around on my timeline this morning. Now, this is a lady that worked very heavily for a couple years on God of War Ragnarok. Huge salute to her. I mean, absolutely no hate. This is sort of what stoked a bunch of this controversy, and I want to read her thoughts on this, but absolutely, please do not tweet anything mean to this poor lady. She says this: math time. I spent 3,000 hours working on God of War Ragnarok. If I even was paid minimum wage before taxes, that's $21,750. I was only one developer, and I didn't work at minimum wage. $70 for a kick-ass PlayStation title is fair as F. Now, of course, this is the debate that keeps popping up since PlayStation games keep going up to this new price level, where everything released on the PlayStation 5 is actually a full cost $70 at retail, which does kind of suck. Now, real quickly, before we even start to dissect this, I do want to quickly point out that yes, they are actually doing this on Xbox as well. Xbox has Game Pass, so most of us aren't really buying the games, but if you tried to buy, like this is Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2, they just released a proper physical edition. It's $70. So this is just what people want the new standard to be, but it's specifically Sony, their developers, their teams, their PR people that seem so dedicated to talking about how, well, I guess the whole point is that you're paying more money for a better product. You're getting a $70 experience for that $70 price tag. Now, a lot of people are actually saying this doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Now, a lot of people here are actually giving her a lot of pushback because just mathematically, which she says is her defense in her own tweets, it just doesn't make sense because right now, Sony is still making tens of billions of dollars. Like, the whole point of this isn't the individual developer or the individual cost of the game. It's actually how many copies it sells. I mean, to act like suddenly we need $70 games when $60 games weren't profitable. Tweets like this and this vein of messaging always felt very strange to me because it almost feels like it's implying a bit of guilt that it is your job to buy these games. It's your job to make sure these people eat. I even see somebody like Alex here saying that this is putting the responsibility of a company onto the individual consumer, which is just such a weirdly moral choice. Now, you can tell that she's once again replying to the fact that the gaming Twitter debate is very heavily talking about this $70 price tag. Now, I do feel like a ton of this controversy exists specifically because of The Last of Us. This has really stoked the fires of the $70 conversation because, in my opinion, The Last of Us Part 1 Remake is not worth $70, at least from what we've seen so far. They keep releasing all these trailers and stuff that show the visual comparisons, the upgrades we're getting to the graphics, but the fact that this is a more expensive product for essentially no real bonus features, that has made a lot of people sort of go, then what is the point of having $70 games? In fact, I even see people saying here in the replies, like, okay, you're saying that this game is built for the PlayStation 5, and yet it doesn't look as good as Last of Us Part 2, which is built for the PlayStation 4. It just doesn't make sense. There almost seems to be this inconsistency between like the amount of price you're paying versus the amount of quality you're getting. Now, I do want to be incredibly clear before people start to rush down to the comment section and say the typical thing, which is, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Okay, I'm fine with that. But in this gaming industry, more than anything else, we support the idea of vote with your wallet. And as it currently stands, if you want the latest and greatest games, the stuff that has the flashiest cutscenes and the coolest action, That means you're going to be buying games at full price. How much is full price though? Absolutely matters. Now, part of the reason I actually held up this copy of Gran Turismo 7 here at the beginning of the video, you probably noticed that this is sealed. I bought this on sale. I already have a copy of Gran Turismo 7, which I played myself. That's how I did my review a couple months ago. This is a birthday gift for my best friend, Nick. If you happen to see this video, don't pay attention to what your birthday gift is, but I bought this because it's finally dipped in price. Even going from $70 down to $50 makes this game, which I did enjoy, a better deal. My thought is that this $70 price tag does feel prohibitively expensive because it doesn't just apply to Sony products. This is the new universal normal. I was thinking about this because there was this tweet that was going around by Zubitech. Zubitech, big PlayStation fanboy, very nice guy, but he tweeted out the fact that this is everything coming to the PlayStation 5 in 2020 and a little bit early 2023. So we have Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 16, Crisis Core, Forspoken. Okay, so tons and tons and tons of great games. Almost all of these are $70, $70, $70, $70, $70, $70. Or I guess this one, Crisis Core Reunion, but that's just a remaster. My thought is that that's because clearly Sony wants this to be the new normal. They are trying to set a precedent. And I guess what kind of sucks about this is not only does it mean less games overall because we're all gaming on a budget, but additionally, I'm kind of nervous about when we start to see Nintendo follow suit. It's bizarre that we're sort of just trying to pretend that this is an acceptable amount of cost when we know for a fact it's not. What really kind of strikes me about this is the entire conversation where people act like this is completely mandatory, when we can look at Sony's own financials to tell that this isn't necessary. Like, just in the last 3 months, this is a brand new article that was just posted. This isn't old information. July 28th, 2022, Sony made $17.5 billion in the last 100 days. Like, at this point, that $70 price tag is not going back to the developers. If it was, I would actually be happy about it. I don't mind paying $70 if it's going to the developers itself. That's why when there is a really, really good indie game that's like $40 and I feel like it should be $20, I still pay that $40 because I know it's going to go directly to the developers. A lot of times with this stuff, I know it's going to some giant executive at the top, and I guess I'm not fully against the idea that obviously business needs to be a bit pro-consumerism, but it feels weird that they're trying to act like this is necessary. And I feel like they're pushing this messaging down onto the individual employees. Rachel here is not trying to be greedy or malicious. She's doing it because genuinely this is the messaging they're telling people, even at the bottom, people who are working on individual assets for the games itself. They're saying, oh, we'd love to pay you guys. Hopefully this sells enough $70 copies. I hope that at some point we start to see some sort of breaking down of this current paradigm. I want to see more mid-range games. I want to see more AA classics. I want to see more remasters. I've talked about this a lot, but like, I want to see more remasters and remakes because I've talked about the fact that I want video games to be more celebratory of the classics, but it feels like if everything is going to start to be $70 by default, I wonder how prohibitively expensive it's going to be. Especially if they start to raise the cost of the PlayStation 5, which Sony is sort of being weirdly dodgy about. If they make the PlayStation 5 more pricey, if they make the games more pricey, honestly, I'm worried about how many people are really going to jump into gaming as new gamers. I did a Twitter poll a couple days ago, and one of the things I asked is how many games are you beating and buying every single year? And I was shocked that about 70% of the people that replied to that poll were people who were saying they buy 1 to 3 games total a year. Now, I'm not saying that's a low amount. I'm saying that it's a tiny amount of money being injected into the gaming industry. And is that going to end up being even less when the costs go up? Make games great. Honestly, I do feel like Sony is pumping out quality. Sony is killing it when it comes to their first-party AAA exclusives. I love what they're doing. I'm super on board for God of War Ragnarok. I'm just saying this weird, wishy-washy language that they're doing this for everybody's best interest. I don't buy it. It just seems a bit off. But what do you think about this? You rock! Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. By the way, I'm playing Xenoblade. I'm going to talk about that in a video this weekend, I think. Man, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is just, it is my drug. I love this game so much. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.